If tough utility at a more affordable price point is what you're in search of for your 2021 or newer Ford Bronco, except for the Raptor models, this Barricade Trekker front bumper should be on your short list. Now, this is a solid option for the Bronco owner who wants a front bumper that can provide the utility needed in tough situations, out on the trail, or when doing really any off-roading, or you simply just want a more heavy-duty appearance to toughen up the look of your Bronco. Now, regardless of those two goals, this front bumper will offer all of those benefits and be a more cost-effective choice in the category so you can save some cash and customize this bumper further. Now, this has a lot going on with the design that provides a lot of utility, protection, and options for the front that you're able to customize, as I said. Now, starting with the size, this has a mid-width design, so it provides almost full coverage to the front while leaving some room open on the sides for clearing larger tires, tackling tougher approach angles, and just kind of clearing obstacles that you may not want to come into contact with in the first place. Now, the Overrider hoop also offers some grille protection as an extra precaution and has mounting tabs on the top to offer a spot for additional lighting. If you want to add any accessory lighting to the front, you have a set spot to do it with. This front bumper is also big on recovery, so it has two high-strength D-ring mounts on either side with included D-rings that are rated for 9,500 pounds and a built-in winch plate rated for most universal winches with up to a 12,000 pound pulling capacity, so you can ensure that this is strong, mounted to the frame for a solid recovery point, and it is recessed, so it's going to allow some better ventilation to the grille with a winch installed and some protection to the winch itself. This is made of a 5/32 thick mild steel plating, and the tubing up top is 2 by 0.12 inches, both being tough enough to hold up against most hazards. On top of this bumper is also an epoxy pre-coating. Now, the Overrider hoop also offers some grille protection as an extra precaution for climates and keep that heavy-duty appearance to the front. The bumper is also compatible with the factory fog lights and comes with mounts to accommodate them, has mounts for the front sensors so you don't have to sacrifice those features, and requires no cutting or modifications in order to mount this up. Now, this is about $600 and again is one of the more affordable choices in the category for a front bumper. Now, comparing this to others, it has all of the necessary requirements that you would want out of an off-road bumper: the protection, the utility, and recovery aspects, and it's not too flashy when it comes to the features if you may not necessarily want or need anything extra on top of what you see here. Now, it's also just got a clean and simple look to it and is sure to complement any other heavy-duty parts that you pair with it, making it a solid option if those are the key features that you're looking for, while also saving some cash in the meantime. Now, installs a lighter 2 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter here, and it should only take about 2 hours or so to get this fully mounted up. However, at this point, I'm going to hand it over to one of our installers here, and they're going to show you a detailed breakdown on how you can get this installed onto your Bronco at home. So that's going to wrap it up for my review. Let's go ahead and jump into the install.
For this install, you need a 3/8 impact and ratchet, 3/8 extension, 18 swivel, 15, 13, 10, and T40 socket, diagonal cutters, clip removal tool, the supplied Allen keys, and supplied zip ties. All right, today we're going to be installing a front bumper on our Bronco. First, we're going to watch a quick video how to uninstall a stock bumper and the wiring harness, and then we'll come back here to install the new one.
So our first step is to remove our skid plate. Now we have 4 bolts. The front 2 we need to fully remove. The back 2 we can just loosen and then slide this whole skid plate forward. So we'll grab a 15mm socket to take these out. Next, we can come to our tow hooks, and we have 4 push clips that we need to pop out, and then we can pop off this cover. So I got a clip remover tool to pop these off. And then we can do that same thing on the other side. Next, we need to remove our 3 15mm bolts on each side. Now I'm gonna leave one in just hand tight until we have a buddy and we're ready to take this off, because we do have a harness on the other side that we can't access until we get the bumper slouched forward a little bit. So I'll take my 15mm socket and get these out. And then we can do that same thing on the other side. Next, we can disconnect our bumper harness. Now the connector is going to be right above the bumper on the driver's side. We have a tab on the front that we can press in and disconnect. So now we're ready to remove our front bumper. I've got myself a buddy. We're going to remove the last bolt that's holding it in on each side, and then we can remove our bumper. Next, we can come to the back side of our frame horns. We have a plastic nut on each side that holds in our 3-nut plate. So we need to remove both of these nuts, and then we can remove our plate. And then we'll do that same thing on the other side. So now if you have a bumper with no parking sensors, you're done with the uninstall at this point. If you do have the parking sensors, now comes the fun part of basically taking every bolt out of this bumper. So we're gonna start with our 13mm bolts and our 10mm bolt in the middle to remove this inner bracket. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side and move on. So now we can take our 13mm socket to get these 4 bolts out. And then we can do that same thing on the other side. Now the last thing we need to do is pop off this bottom plate to remove our harness. And we have 2 more T40 bolts here and 3 more on the other side going into these U-clips. So we'll pop those out, pop these 3 clips out, and then we can remove our harness. So once again, I've got T40 Torx bit. And then we can flip it over and get the 3 bolts on the other side. So now that our inner piece is loose, we can go ahead and pop out all of these push clips. Now this is going to be the same on each side. Besides on this side, we have our harness that's going to go to our body. So we have an extra 4 clips on the outside. So we'll grab a clip remover tool and pop these out. So now we've spun our bumper around. Our next step is to remove this inner bracket. We have 3 bolts here and then 1 bolt over here. Once again, we're going to be using that T40 Torx bit to take these out. And now coming over just a couple inches from that bracket, we just have 1 more clip on each side. So once again with the clip remover tool, we'll just pop that out and we can fully remove our harness. So now we've got this folded over, rotated it once again. We need to pop out these 3 clips and then we can disconnect the connectors on our parking sensors. Now on our parking sensors, we're just going to push in on the tab and wiggle those out of place. And then to remove our parking sensors, we can just pry back on these tabs. and wiggle them out. And then we can do that same thing on the other side. So now we've spun our bumper back around again, and we have 3 more T40 bolts that we need to remove. So now we can grab this plate and flip it over. We have our 3 clips we need to pop out. And now coming over just a couple inches from that bracket, we just have 1 more clip on each side. So once again with the clip remover tool, we'll just pop that out and we can fully remove our harness.
So now that we have our factory bumper off, we just need to get our new bumper ready. So we just need to run our wiring harness for our parking sensors and install our parking sensors themselves. So for our factory parking sensors, you just want to take off this silicone ring that goes on top, and then we'll show you how it goes in each spot on the bumper. So we're gonna get our parking sensor, we're gonna have our foam ring, we're gonna put that around instead of our factory silicone. Flip that over and slide that into position. Grab a foam pad. Now this does have double-sided tape. We just stick that to the back of the sensor. We're just gonna set ours on there for right now. And then you have your cap, which will lock it down in place. Simply pushes down and locks it in place. And then you go ahead and do the same thing with the other 3 sensors. So now we're gonna get our harness and plug our sensors in. So we'll start on the edge out here, and then we'll continue towards the middle, securing our harness along the way. So now when it comes to the middle parking sensor, you'll see this is our connector right here. Now there is no access through the top of the bumper here, so you have to run it underneath the mounting point here. Now this wire is not long enough, so you will need to purchase an extension wire to reach from here to your parking sensor. We don't have that right now, so we're just gonna tuck our wire away. And we have our sensors installed, so it looks good from the front for right now. And then we're just gonna secure our wire along the way and continue to the other side. Now we're just gonna grab a supplied zip tie and secure this down here. Now you can secure this however you want. Just gonna get ours down here. Just make sure it stays out of the way because we do have to put a block off plate here. We just take a pair of diagonal cutters and just cut off the extra for the zip ties. And now you can just continue along. Remember, we can't plug in our 3rd sensor, but just keep running it along and plug in your last outside sensor. So since our vehicle does not have ACC or adaptive cruise control, we do not have a module to mount here. We have our block off plate. Our block off plate is gonna go in the front like so. You'll see it with 3 holes line up. Now through the front, we're gonna have our longest Allen bolt with a lock washer and flat washer. So we'll put that through like so, and we'll do another flat washer on the back with our nut. Get that hand tight, get the other 2 in. We get our supplied Allen wrench and hold the head of the bolts and grab our ratchet and 10mm deep socket, tighten them down. Now we're gonna get our crossbar on. So our bar is gonna go on like so. We're gonna grab our hardware. We have our Allen bolt with a flat washer, and then our washer nut to go on the bottom side. So get our bar up, get a bolt on either side to help hold it in place, then get the rest of our hardware in. Now we can grab our Allen key and our ratchet with an extension and 13mm socket and tighten down either side. Go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. So now before we get our bumper installed, I just want to talk about the mounting process. Now here we have our spacer. You may not need this, or you may, depending on if you add a winch or not. We're going to put ours on just to make sure everything clears. Now this will go in between the bumper and the frame of the truck. And then our bolts will come through the front side, so they'll go through the bumper first, through our bracket, through our spacer. And then they're going to lock in on the back side through our replacement nut plate. Now this is just replacing the factory one that we just took out, just made for these bolts. So now we'll go grab a buddy, help us get this in place and get all the bolts threaded in. All right, so we're gonna get our bumper lined up with all of our bolts. So we're gonna start on our inside bolts on one side here. We're gonna grab our ratchet and 18mm swivel socket, tighten those two down. So now I have our ratchet and swivel socket on our outside bolt. We'll tighten that down. Pop that off. And we're gonna plug in our main harness here. Now you can tuck up your wires however you want using a couple of supplied zip ties. We just have ours tucked up out of the way. But once you have this side all secured, you can go ahead and repeat those same steps for the 3 bolts on the other side of the bumper. So once you have that side all secured, you can come over to the other side, secure those 3 18mm bolts, and we just have our D-rings and our top plate to go on. We're gonna put our top cover plate on now. So it's gonna angle in like so. It's just gonna push against this rubber seal here a little bit. We're gonna put our supplied Allen bolts with a flat washer on. There are threaded holes in the top of the bumper here. Get them started by hand. We can tighten them down with our supplied Allen key. So now we can just tighten these down. You could use a supplied Allen key, or I just have a 5mm Allen socket and zip it tight. Let's go ahead and do the same thing for the other side. Lastly, we just have our D-rings. Just go unthread our bolt. Slide it over here, and then thread our bolt back in. And let's go ahead and do the same thing for the other side. So now we just need to get our skid plate back in place. We're gonna slide it over our back 2 bolts. And get our front 2 threaded in. Grab our impact and 15mm socket and tighten all 4 of those down. And that wraps up our install of our Barricade Trekker front bumper for our 2021 and newer Bronco, excluding the Raptor. And remember, for everything Bronco, keep it right here at extremeterrain.com.